Services Council, I think it's very, very important that you put together this debate because it's focusing attention on the issues that we all care about. I really want to commend the notion of a series of debates to focus on a series of specific issues because they're not going to get the attention unless there's this type of format. Also, thank you to Youthful America. I think it's fair to say this will be the most elegant debate space we will have the entire season here. Look, I have to be straightforward. I'm disappointed that Gioia is not here, and I'm very disappointed that Mark Green's not here. This is, by my count, the fourth debate he has skipped. And with all due respect to the notion of previous scheduling commitments, debates are pretty sacred. They're the opportunity to compare the views of the candidates and have a real discussion. Candidates have to find a way to be at them. I don't know if Mark feels like he's entitled to this particular position, but I think the voters believe in debate and they want to see people debate. And I just reject the notion of candidates avoiding debates because they think it's strategically helpful. On to the topic at hand. Look, I think the Public Advocate's Office is so crucial, particularly as a defender of New Yorkers in greatest need. As chairman of the General Welfare Committee in the City Council, I've tried very hard to use the oversight process, the budget process, the legislative process to defend the interests of vulnerable New Yorkers, and it's clear that their interests are not on the front page every day, and they're not politically powerful, and they don't have high-paid lobbyists at City Hall. So there's a small group of public servants who make it their business to watch out for the interests of literally millions of New Yorkers in need. It's natural you would expect it from the chairman of the General Welfare Committee and the council. I think you also should expect it from the public advocate. When I look at the city charter, I see a lot of things about the Public Advocate's Office. They all revolve around oversight and being a watchdog and making government responsive. But I think implicitly there's a mandate to watch out for people in greatest need. Now, I'll give you some examples. I felt when I came into office as chair of the General Welfare Committee, I felt the administration's policies towards the homeless were well-intentioned, but were not hitting the mark. And I pushed very hard to move us towards a greater focus on prevention. More recently, I've been appalled at policies like charging rent for people in homeless shelters or referring people to three-quarters houses, illegal boarding houses. Even if that isn't the intention of the policy, that's what's happening. I've tried to use the oversight process to shine a light on those issues and bring about real changes. We've gotten some changes in terms of more of a focus on preventative strategies for homelessness. We have a long way to go when it comes to food and hunger. I used the legislative process and the oversight process to push the administration towards more of a real outreach effort to people in need, to get folks signed up for food stamps who were eligible. Sadly, there are several 100,000 more New Yorkers who could and should be on food stamps. That's part of the work ahead for the Public Advocate's Office to continue that outreach and to break down barriers like fingerprinting, which I think is still a very misguided policy. And on issues of children, we have made great strides with ACS, but we have to protect those reforms. We have to protect preventative services that help stop child abuse. We have to protect child care centers, which have been bluntly under attack by budget cutters. And we've been in danger of losing dozens of child care centers. When I'm public advocate, I'm going to make it my business to say the city's policies have to change fundamentally, so we're encouraging the development of child care centers for low-income families, not taking steps that actually could lead to their closure. Public Advocate's Office has to be not only the spokesperson for New Yorkers in need, but the practical place where change occurs. We come up with real strategies for protecting the gains we've made, and particularly in tough economic times, for making sure that this incredible sector of nonprofit organizations and community-based organizations is protected. That, to me, is one of the core mandates of the Public Advocate.
Thank you, Councilmember. Mr. Siegel?
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
That's what participatory democracy is about. I move around. I'm on the edge here. I'm usually on the edge.
You're living on the edge.
I plead guilty to that. That's what a public advocate should be doing, on the edge. Pushing government, pushing the people in government. What's the purpose of public advocate under the charter, 24G? It says you set up procedures to listen to people's complaints. You then respond to the complaints. You initiate investigations. You make your findings public. I think this is a unique position. It's unique because it's the only position in the world where you are elected by the people, independent, to monitor the government. I think we need a social justice mindset in this office. We need an outsider who knows how to work the inside, but not an insider. We need a civil rights person to be in this office. It could be one of you in 4 or 8 years from now. You need someone who has advocacy skills. I'm not a career politician. Don't want to be a career politician. This is the only office I run for. I make it very clear, I do not want to be the mayor of the city of New York. My 3 opponents all like to be someday the mayor of the city of New York. And the reason why I say that, I think there's a different skill set in being an advocate as opposed to being the chief executive officer. I think the provision for the public advocate to replace the mayor should be changed. Again, because it's a different skill set. The controller would be more appropriate for, God forbid, a mayor has a heart attack, dies, or disabled. We have to rethink this. And we have to focus in on what advocacy is about. And this is an audience, you are all advocates. I would decentralize this office. I learned from many people when I was at MFY Legal Services, for example, Mobilization for Youth, where I was taught, as well as when I went south in the civil rights movement in the 60s, if you care about healthy people, you can't just step back and be in the municipal building and expect people from Staten Island, Coney Island, Jamaica, Queens to get to the municipal building. It's $4.50 these days for people to come, and sometimes it's even more. What you have to do is decentralize the office. I'll have a satellite office in every one of the boroughs. People say, with the economy, how can you do that? When people ask that question, I say, you don't get it. You don't get it because you go to every borough president and you say, give me your room in your office. In return, what do you get? We provide services for the people in your borough. And second, when we do those inquiries and investigations and we have the reports and we have the press conference, we'll do the work. You can be the star and you can get the press. And they usually love to do that part. So there's a way to make that happen. With regard to the Public Advocate's Office, I'll create an Institute of Advocacy to teach people what advocacy is about. When I was in the South in the 60s, in the Southern Civil Rights Movement, I got to meet some great Americans, Martin King, Fannie Lou Hamer, Nita Blackwell, Andy Young. These folks were not only great Americans, they were great advocates. They were not lawyers. You don't have to be a lawyer to be an advocate. And in the context of issues concerning this particular group, we need to take people from public assistance and put them on Social Security disability. A, they'll get more money, and more important, it's not city and state funds, it's federal funds. You talk about 1.3 million people in the city of New York eligible for federal food stamps. I learned at MFY, it doesn't matter how many pages the application is. People won't fill it out. You have to fill it out for them, and you don't even give them the envelope and say, you mail it, because maybe they won't have a stamp. That's what advocacy is about. That's the kind of single public advocate office we would have. Idealistic, activist, principled, and being there